We will be starting with the event shortly. A very good evening to everyone listening today. Anyone can write a code that a computer understands, but only a good programmer can write a code that humans understand. I am Darsha, the host for the event today, and our speaker is Ritu Raj. Welcome to the episode 2 of GDSC Elevate Competitive Programming versus Projects. About the speaker, Ritu Raj has been a part of GDSC for the past 2 years and is currently the web development lead of our team. He's a software tool intern at Western Digital. Before we get going with the episode, I would like to request everyone to not hesitate from actively taking part and asking questions. Over to Ritu.
Hi everyone. Darsha, I hope I'm presenting my screen.
Yeah, it's clearly visible.
Yeah, so that's cool. Hi everyone. Good evening. Yep. I'm Ritu Raj, fourth year CS undergrad. Uh, I'm presently intern at Western Digital, and I think all of these years we felt the need to clear out this doubt that we have. When I was in my first year, I think I used to always, every other day, I would tumble around this question whether competitive programming is more important, or whether I should focus myself more on projects, whether I should just plain do DSA algorithms. I don't know. I've stumbled upon so many questions that I've even forgot how many I have seeked the answers. But one constant question that was there was always this one. And I've met all of the people all these 4 years. I've met juniors who always uh, come across this question always comes across to them. So I think this was the time that we discuss about it. So yeah. Dasha, I hope everything is proper. I'm perfectly audible. My screen is perfectly visible.
Yes, yes. Sir.
Yeah, good then. Yeah. So this event uses Slido. I request all of you to go to slido.com and use this particular event code. so that you could participate and be interactive throughout the quiz. So let's do that, everyone. I would wait for a couple of seconds. Yeah. So yeah, I hope all of us are on the same page. Moving forward, yeah, let's start with this question, the question that haunts us all. Like, pick a side, just for your own. Before we start off the session, before I put my words into your mouth, or before you listen to me, uh, just pick a side. What do you think is more important? Wait, projects get 100%, CP slash DSA get 40. Oh, it reduced to 80 for projects. Seven part. I hope everybody is participating. I only see seven. Yeah, 10 answers. Project still leads. Oh, dynamics are changing very quick. We'll wait. Everyone, please poll quick. Uh, okay, so CP and DSA gets 42% and project gets a 75%. Cool then. People consider projects more important than CP or DSA. That's cool. That's fair. Like everybody has different school of thinking. That's perfectly fine. Okay, then we'll go to the next slide. Talking about starting about competitive programming or data structures and algorithms, as we call it, very basic. There are pros and cons to it as well. See, so why some 42% of people voted for it and the others don't? Because probably they are aware of the cons and not about the pros, maybe. Uh, a good guess. So yeah, so the pros I would say of competitive programming or solving algorithmic problems would be these days they are an integral part of your of all your software interviews. I feel most of the companies that are here on campus or you apply elsewhere, every software interview would definitely have you testing out your algorithm skills. So that is one of the pros because if you are familiar with it, familiar with the problem solving, you can easily make your way through them. This, apart from all of these materialistic benefits, I would say, develops your algorithmic and logic building in your, so basically your that particular hemisphere of the brain. It starts thinking different way. It starts building logic for solving problems. That is always there. And then I would say it trains you to write clean and efficient code. When we talk about solving these problems, when we talk about competitive programming in general, it just helps you write efficient code. So it all that we are racing for in all of these questions is how better can we do it? How better can we solve it? Do we have some other way or not? Do we have a better way for it? Is there a shorter solution, a better solution for all these? So it also trains you to write clean and efficient code. Whereas it's a coin. Everything is a coin. It has two faces. So the cons would be the development that you would be doing. Anyone who is pursuing a career in software, all the development that they would be doing are not constrained problems as in these contests or in these problems. So basically, the problems that you would tackle on your job would definitely not be solving a stack question or probably binary searching your way through an array. Definitely not. These are definitely not being to be such constrained problems with such real valued entities. Apart from this, real world problems that you would rather be solving in your day to day life, in your future, would be far too complex and far too dynamic than these. So they would involve you taking real time values, they would involve you uh, managing thousands of data and thousands of very decent number, I would say millions of data, which might not be integers that are asked in these questions. So real world problems which you tackle in your development career would be very, very different, not as constrained as these ones. Still, uh, I would say uh, if we actually go about it, if we actually do competitive programming, what do you think should be your favorite coding language, or what is presently your favorite coding language? I would say, just drop in your questions. C++, Python. Okay. I see a lot of people for Python, C++, Java as well. Oh, Java has entered. That's cool. These three still dominate. Bylang. I'm pretty sure you are presently in these days not getting anywhere with Bylang apart from your hostel rooms. So that is there. Bylang. Okay. Probably in coming days. Probably in coming days. Okay. Any more languages though? Anyone? That's cool. So we have three languages that I have known: Python, C++, and Java, and one that I have been very briefly introduced with Bylang. Oh, we have JS as well. JavaScript has entered. That's cool. Yeah. So I'll move forward. These are the wonderful five languages that we have seen. Fine. I'll not be talking about Bylang for a very long time, for sure. Not in this session, at least. So, yeah. Now the question is which languages to choose. So irrespective of the pictures that I've kept in slide, there are multiple languages that you can choose from, for sure, except for Bylang, I'm pretty sure. So apart from that, in competitive programming or solving DSA questions, if we talk, the three languages that top the list would definitely be C++, Java, and Python, for sure, any day. JavaScript is being used, but these three always top the list. Apart from this, C++ and Java are further popular than Python. And upon this, it's very disheartening for Java people. No grudges, but C++ tops the list. So anybody who is solving these algorithmic problems or attending contests, C++ is most widely used language everywhere. So why C++ tops this list is because C++ is fastest. By far, compilers are so C++ codes just get executed so quick that in these contests you can actually leverage that because all these contests and solving these problems are how quick you do it, which shows how prompt you are. So C++ I would say by far is most popular. Apart from that, C++ has really great libraries. Uh, we call those standard template library that helps you hone your performance very much. So you can get things done pretty quick in C++. The second to none is Java. Java, as you know, is being used across so many devices, very popular. That is also used in competitive programming very often, very, very often. But it loses to C++ somewhere in speed. And since speed is all that we are concerned about in solving problems, so yeah, that is why Java comes second. Python, on the other hand, would be third because it has slower execution, and compilers in these contests have to actually increase their compilation time to accommodate all the Python solutions. No wonder your answers will be accepted, no wonder your answers will still be evaluated, but it would be slower. And I don't think anybody would want your code to execute slower anywhere in such contests or while you are solving problems. You just need to be snappy. So you're free to choose any language. It's completely up to you. But still, if I would go by community, if I would go by people who have been doing through it through the years and who trust these languages, if I had to rank them, C++, Java, and then Python with all their benefits and cons. That's always there. Yep. Now the next question I would say, which is again very important in competitive programming, is the duration to excel. So it's we all know, we all remember doing math. Me in school, I have always loved math. I never had a problem with math, but I have seen people struggling with math. And how do people excel, or how your parents tell that you excel in math is like by doing it. You do it every day, and then after a period of time, you actually get used to it. So the duration to excel is really subjective. I would say anybody can grasp concepts really quick, so they would have a really great growth. Apart from that, other people might find it that bit difficult. So it might take different time for them. So what happens is, in this, how to determine the duration to Excel, I would say one thing that I would say comes is, how does one define excellence? Excellence is very subjective. How good do you want to be? So there is always this. If you want to be the best, what should I say, sportsman on this planet, so for sure you would have to practice that sport for a very, very long time with a very, very rigorous training for sure. So if you have to reach, suppose you want to be a Olympic level player, I'm pretty sure they have been doing it for very long, every day, every time, such rigorous training, and that is how they excel. That is how their level is. That's why they are Olympians probably. But for this applies to competitive programming as well. So if you want to be decent in it, you would require maybe 2 months, 3 months. If you want to be really good at it, it might take you 6 months. If you want to be best at it, the best that is there to exist among your peers, I would say it might take you 1 year. So it actually depends on the level of excellence you want yourself to be. So if you want to be really an expert, that will take you 1 year. If you want to be just good at it so that you know how to develop that aptitude skill, that will take you 2 years. If you want to really develop that aptitude skill, that will take you 6 months or 4 months, depending again how good you want to be, determine what makes you happy. And I think that should give you the duration to excel. And again, it's very, very subjective. But for sure, given that it would take time. So be patient always. Yeah. Now resources. I think this is one of the most critical thing. Where to start off? What to do? Uh, where do we go? So for beginners, I think GDSC is one of the coding website. It has multiple levels. It's known to have a star rewarding system. So you get rewarded with stars as in how you progress. So HackerRank as a resource, I would suggest you guys to use for learning languages. So whatever language you pick, it might be C++, Python, or Java. Just go to HackerRank, go to that particular language track. You'd find really great questions leveled familiar with the language, and then you can start off with the algorithm section or the problem solving section on HackerRank as well. I would not suggest you to go for algorithms and problem solving there and HackerRank those sections. But for sure, any day, if someone is starting for a language, C++ or Python or Java, HackerRank should. I think everybody has one of the best blog articles that I've ever found on problem solving. They are really simple to understand. They have HackerEarth should be your go-to for blog articles. And then where do you test them out? So you learn something. You learn something from the blogs. You learn the language from HackerRank. And since I don't recommend you to go and solve problems on HackerRank, so you can solve them on Geeks for Geeks or LeadCode, any of them. So all the beginners can go for Geeks or LeadCode. I think there is not one can be definitely more popular than other, but these both platforms are really good to go. So you are always set for these. Apart from this, if you are someone who's intermediate, who has already started off, you know the language, you are familiar with your data structures and a standard algorithm, you have tried your hands on Geeks for Geeks and LeetCode. So what you can do for intermediate programmers, you could read this book, Competitive Programmers Handbook by Antti Laxonson. It's really great. This book has all the complex topics, I would say. It has really simple topics as well: how to avoid time limit errors, how to not run into runtime errors. From topics like these, basic topics, to very advanced topics such as convex hull problem, geometric problems in your contest. All of these are covered in this book. Hands down, this should be one of the best textbooks that you could ever read. CodeChef needs no introduction. It's a competitive programming platform. Then we have Topcoder. Topcoder are really famous for its SRM, which are its contests. Apart from that, if you have done these and then you still have that hunger in you for advanced, I would suggest you SPOJ. So SPOJ stands for Sphere Online Judge. It's a hardcore competitive programming playground. So you have questions compiled through various contests. It has ladders. So SPOJ has a ladder mechanism to rate you. So suppose you are on the ladder, suppose 400. So you solve problems on 400, get better, go for 500, 600. So that's how ladders on SPOJ work. Then you have Code Forces. I think Code Forces is also a big name. Needs no introduction, but Code Forces is really popular when you go for contests. That is where people get their hands dirty in competitive programming. So you have problems in contests, standard. You have A, B, C, D, E problems divided in increasing order of difficulty, and then it's an online judge. So it's really frequent with contests. So if you want to practice here, practice, then definitely go for Code Forces. Well, before moving on, I would like to show you some of the interfaces, if possible. Yeah. So yeah, this is LeadCode. In LeadCode, you have this problem section. All the problems are listed over here. There are, I think, if I'm not wrong, roughly around 2,000 problems on LeadCode presently. They add problems continuously. You have weekly contests, you have bi-weekly contests, and then you have company specific questions. So LeadCode was prepared not only for competitive programming, but mostly for tackling software interviews. So you will find a lot of these. You will find topics, you will find various questions, daily challenges. So suppose, yeah, I would just show one question quick. Why? I would like you guys to see the interface. I yeah.
Hey
Mm,
Ritu,
yeah,
so I'm sorry to
yeah, Darsha.
interrupt. I think the net from your side is slightly bad. So your
Yeah,
the video is
I apologize for hostile Wi-Fi.
understandable. I think it will be
Uh,
better if you turn the video off.
okay, I'll do that. My bad. I would say at this point. So I hope Darshan now the screen is visible and properly audible. Probably.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So this is the interface. You have the problem over here. This is the problem statement. You have a couple of sample input and output, as well as explanation to these. And then you have constraints. So basically the constraints I was talking about. So each problem, each algorithmic problem has a constraint to it because you need to get it running as quick as possible. So these are your constraints. These are your LeadCode also provides you related topics so that you have a hint what this problem is related to. And this is where you type your code, and this is submit. You test your code out here. So yeah, this is LeadCode. Apart from this, another, yeah. So the book I was talking about, this is your competitive programmer's handbook. So we have really basic topics from input output, as I said, from shortening code, maths that is involved, which programming language you choose, to I think every other algorithm, as well as very, very complex topics such as combinatorics or number theory and all of these. How this book is very, very relevant to you, the convex hull problem I'm talking about. This is one of the last topics of the book and probably the most difficult one as well. Why this book is so famous and why it makes it complete is because it is accompanied by a website known as CSES problem sets. So this is a compiled list of problems that have been running through various Russian contests. So people practice over here, and this book is actually a complementary for this website. So if I'm reading chapter one, if I go to problem set, yeah, so I have multiple problems. So if I go to a particular problem such as maybe missing number, So this particular topic has already been dealt in this book in the very first chapter, and all I need to do is read the book, come over here, and practice the same concept. So I do not need to go and hunt for that concept anywhere. So yeah, these are your submissions. What makes this website also very special, I would say, is not only a supporting book, but your submissions are also have visible test cases. So yeah, what are test cases? Test cases in the world of programming are some predefined cases that have been written by the question setter, which your program is tested through. So if they clear all of them, that uh, determines a score. So all of the test cases on this website are visible to you, not hidden like any other platform. So you can, if suppose a test case goes wrong, you could actually go and evaluate what went wrong. So this is really special about this website. Apart from this, moving on, I would say, yeah, this is HackerRank. So this is the star mechanism system that they have. So as I said, I have only used HackerRank for my mostly my programming languages, and I've left problem solving between because the hierarchy on HackerRank is a tad bit really different. Also, they have contests, a really popular contest. So there was a contest, HackerRank Hackfest, in which I got a bronze medal. So all of these rewarding systems on HackerRank would actually keep you motivated. Apart from their own question sets, I think I would recommend you HackerRank for contests as well as your programming for the language, for developing the language of the programming. Okay, moving on. Yeah, now moving to development. Projects superseded in the survey. So we'll talk about projects as well. So the pros of projects are the solutions that you formulate, the code that you write while developing is the one that closely resembles your day-to-day software job. So if you suppose you are developing, if you are using JavaScript, if you are creating a website or a mobile phone app, so you will be tackling all the real world problems. So suppose a user clicks on your website, how does it respond? Suppose someone wants to navigate to a screen, how should they navigate? What should I show them while the data is being loaded? So all of these is something that you would have to tackle someday or the other for a software job anywhere, regardless. And then this also builds the knowledge to develop real world scalable applications. So when you solve a problem, it's only for you, it's for your own satisfaction. But when you build something, when you develop something, when you do something for real world, you could show it off to people. People would use it. And then apart from all of this, what I would say is the most which is the best part, I would say, about development is it helps you write lengthy functional code. So it's not just code that is just a function is supposed to run on a compiler and then you would forget it the other day, but rather it's a long bit of code which has to be clubbed together piece by piece to make that functional. So I would say these are the pros. The cons would be it actually doesn't involve much out of the box thinking. Again, this could start off a debate, but what I mean to say out of the box thinking is it doesn't really jog your brain. So if I have to create a button, if I have to just probably do something that is already available, usually the applications we develop on a small scale do not involve that out of the box thinking. So this is very unlike the algorithmic problems because you would be sitting on a chair while solving a problem on algorithms, which would be really jogging your brain up. You have to find something quicker. You have to find something better. That is one of the cons of development. Apart from these, nowadays, as the trend, I would say, these are becoming less and less important in software interviews. I'm not saying it's not important at all. It is, but less important than your project. So basically, the interviewer prefers asking you questions more on your DSA skills rather than going through your project in entirety, rather than going deeper into your projects. So that is what. But this is definitely depending on the trend. That is how things are going now. But for sure, I would not. If these things development becomes really critical when you are going for startups. So you have to be really aware. What do you want at the end? Yeah, resources nevertheless to for development would be if you guys have attended, I'm pretty sure you guys have attended all the GDSC events. If you have, then you should really check out the Tic Tac Toe PPT that is there in our community server. For every domain that is possible, you will find resources over there. And then there is a Codehouse app on Play Store, which has been developed by our own core team member, Abhilash. You could check that out as well. Apart from these, you know all the generic ones. I think these are really famous. You have YouTube, thousands of YouTube channels now, not to mention. Just because I am a web developer, I know some of the channels. There should be Traversy Media, there should be JavaScript Mastery, just to name a few. But YouTube, go whatever you want to learn, and it's there. Then you have Udemy, and then you have Coursera. So I think these two names also need no introduction. Yeah. So now I kind of left you in middle of nowhere. Why do I say this? Is because I said, okay, you would say, okay, I can do projects, but what are some relevant projects idea? What should I do? So if you choose something like web development or mobile development, uh, I would suggest you go for full stack projects. That okay. So full stack projects are the one, just for the people who don't know, are the ones that involved a front end. So front end means what I look at, so the design and everything. Then one which has backend. Backend is how the things are being served to me. How are my servers working? How are the things going at the back of my visible screen? And then there are the databases. Databases are the ones that store your information. So all of these comprise something that we call full stack projects. So I would suggest you guys go for full stack projects in which you are developing the interface, you are controlling how things go at the back, and then you are also controlling how the data is being retrieved or stored. So what this does is actually it displays your expertise. Obviously, if you are handling everything that is related to the project, I think it displays your expertise for sure. And then there is Horizon as well. So you can do that. Apart from this, you can work with APIs. APIs are what drives the real world applications these days. So anytime we so real world websites are not as simple as we think they are. They always need contribution for some or the other application. So I would suggest you guys to work with APIs. And if by chance you go for the very fancy tech, which is the AI/ML these days, blockchain, we have the cloud, cybersecurity, and I'm sorry if I'm missing any others, but if you go with these fancy techs, it's not always needed in interviews. So why I'm always talking about interviews is because we are in college, the stage we are in. Our main focus is mostly majority of us have focus on getting a great job, probably the one that we love, the one that are we see ourselves doing. So that's why I talk about interviews. So these are not always needed in interviews, but it's always a plus. So if you do a project on AI/ML, very good. It shows that you are very enthusiastic and you know a skill that is very much in demand. But these are always not much needed in interviews. And before gaining expertise in any of these fields, regardless, just make sure to assess your opportunities. So you might end up being a blockchain expert for sure, but if you cannot actually encash that skill, so you cannot get a job probably here, or you cannot find a company or a startup which works on this, so probably your expertise will somehow be what should I say, disrespected. So basically your skill never gets wasted. You are a blockchain expert at the end of the day, very well, very nice. But if you cannot actually make something out of it, so that would just demotivate you. So before you gain expertise in one of these relatively new and very fancy fields, just make sure you assess your opportunities. If you see that there are opportunities around you, for sure, take any field, be a master of any of these. So that's what I would suggest. Apart from this, open source. So I hope most of us know what open source is, but still, open source is a project that is publicly viewable. anybody in the world can contribute, anybody in the world can write the code, anybody can reproduce the code or copy it, or it's just a huge library, I would say, free public library. So what, of course, that is what open source is. So open source contributions are really valuable, like really valuable. I cannot stress more on it. It increases your community and peer recognition. So the codes that you write or the things that you do is visible to everyone. So everyone is your assessor. And once you get something accepted, so a whole lot of developers have accepted your code. So that just increases your recognition, as well as yeah. So how do you actually get started into open source? Is just pick your field, pick your poison, whichever field you want to contribute in, whether it be web, thousands of frameworks, thousands of things in web as well, thousands of mobile developing applications. Just pick your poison and get started. For starting off, I would suggest you definitely explore GitHub, and then you go to first. There's a website known as First Contributions, basically made for novices, and then Code Triage for beginners as well. One thing that has always stopped us from open source contribution is basically we feel, would I be able to write a code that would be recognized on that level? Uh, can I do that? Is maybe the changes that I am making are irrelevant. So do not hesitate in starting small. Everybody starts small. Start small. Just gain acceptance, whatever you do, and then flourish. Once you step into this, once you are past this floodgate, I assure you, you are never coming back. And then it's always going to be uphill for you. So mainly what stops people from open source is that inertia of contributing for the first time. Do not hesitate. Just go change a grammar in a repository, public repository. That is also counted as a contribution. And then for this, I would suggest the one I find is a very good platform is, I think, Hacktoberfest. If you guys don't know about it, please go search about it. This is where you start contributing to various public repositories, and there are thousands of people to help you there, thousands of people to tell you what is the right way, how to go about it. So yeah. So what development domain do you guys like? So I've been talking about various of them, fancy, non-fancy, and all the old ones. What do you guys like? I would like to see. So yep, go on. Web. Kudos to all the web people. I'm a web developer as well. I love web. AI. No hatreds toward the AI as well. Okay. Only two. Mobile dev. This had to be there. Everybody's obsessed with mobiles. Cybersecurity, very interesting. For people who are interested in cybersecurity, I would like you to know uh, we are in huge scarcity of people who are there into cybersecurity. There's going to be millions of job and no people to fill it. So you guys have tremendous opportunities. AR, VR, definitely augmented reality and virtual reality. For sure, I think metaverse is something that would interest these people. AI gaining votes, for sure. So yeah, cybersecurity, for sure. It's very critical, very, very critical. Yes. Apart from this, people, I'm really surprised though how a mobile dev, yeah, blockchain, mobile dev got so many less votes, but nothing. Blockchain is also trending. I really hope that the money I've put into blockchain flourishes. So yeah, blockchain people, we really need you. I really need some good decisions. Ah, I think this is really great. Okay, moving forward. It's great to see you guys interested in all of these. And I really hope that you continue developing these, learning these. Just make sure to assess your opportunities. That's the only thing. Your knowledge will never be wasted. You can learn anything and it will be of use forever. But just make sure that you assess your opportunities. Now, this is very important. How to get the right mix of both. Uh, Perfectly balanced. Everything should be perfectly balanced. I think this GIF is not alien to anyone. So yeah. So I would suggest, if you guys are aiming for mm, a perfect balance of these so that you can strike a job, as well as tackle those interviews, basically. Solving problems is tackling those interviews, and then keep doing what you are passionate about. So just keep solving problems while you are going at your projects. And then just to give you a rough estimate, solve around 3 to 4 problems a day. It could be one or two, just giving you a number. And then along with this, go about developing your solutions. And then also, when you are solving problems, what rookie mistake I did was, I used to solve all the easy problems, and then I used to feel pompous. I used to feel I'm the greatest person of this on this entire planet. And then someday I would just exhaust easy problems, go for a medium or hard problem, and sink like Titanic probably. So just keep a perfect mix of these problems, easy, medium, and hard. A very healthy ratio that I have learned throughout these years was to keep a ratio of 20% of easy problems, 50% of medium problems, and then 30% of hard problems. And a very quick fact is, usually if you're tackling interviews, then you would generally be asked medium and hard problems. So easy problems are the ones that teach you for medium and hard problems, but medium and hard problems are the ones that you are tested on. Apart from this, there's this quote. I would like to just rephrase it: quality over quantity. So when you are solving problems, quality over quantity should be your focus. So I mentioned you, there are 2000 plus problems on LeadCode. There might be 2000 problems on some other platform. So if you add these up, there might be a million of problems, but you can't solve them. Like, it's not possible. So what you do is pick the quality questions, questions that you feel would teach you something, and then go for it. While when you are going for projects, it's always so the phrase rotates. So it's like quantity over quality. So the more you develop, the more you do a project, the more you learn things. So I've been in situations where I've done the same project. I think I've just went through it twice or thrice, and every time I go through it, I learn something new. So that is what. So in cases of project, the more projects you make, the better you learn. Even if you have made one project, just go through it several times, you'll find something new. This I could guarantee you. Apart from this, when you are solving problems, I don't let rankings bother you, because they are really demotivating at times. They can be really motivating, but mostly demotivating. Why? Because rankings are what the entire world sees. So there will be so many people on this planet much better than you, which pushes ranking down. Doesn't mean that you are not deserving, doesn't mean you are not good. It just means they have been doing it earlier than you. Probably they had a GDSC session in their college before this. So they are just ahead of you in time. That's all. So it was just a matter of them knowing before you. So don't let rankings bother you. Just keep making progress. They are just markers. Trust me, they are just random graphs with random numbers written. Apart from that, they should not be taken more. Yep. And consistency is the key, I would say. So you might initially find it really frustrating. So people who have been doing development, they would feel, oh, why should I do problem? I could not give proper time to my project if I switch to problem solving. Or people who have been solving problems actively switching to projects. So I was someone who used to solve problems a lot, but ignore my projects. So, and then when I started off with development, I used to find it really frustrating because I got used to doing something for a very long time. And then I did not want to change. If I used to solve 6 problems a day, it got reduced to 2. And it was really difficult. But just keep going at it. Give yourself time, let the habit sink in. And it might take time, but surely you will be able to balance it. And as I said, consistency is the key. Keep doing it, keep solving problems, keep developing. Just keep doing it every day. And yeah, very important. Don't compare yourself with others. It should always be you versus you. I told you, somebody had a GDSC session before us in their college, and then advancing is not your problem. Why should you compare yourself with someone XYZ? So just compare yourself with yourself, the person you were yesterday and the person you are today. So maybe if I learn doing binary search today, I'm always a better person tomorrow. So that is only one thing that should bother you. So you should just keep going and not bother about all of these things. And it's okay to have a bias towards one. As I said, when I started balancing these together, there was always a bias towards solving problems. I did not like doing projects at all, but I did not obsess myself with one. And I suggest you guys also don't. So don't obsess that I would just keep doing it no matter what. Speaking from experience, it does matter. Both of them have their equal importance. So, as someone, if you trust me, don't obsess with one. Just keep doing both of them and just keep your biasness aside and just keep doing it. That I would say. Yep. So I think that's all I had to say. Any questions though? That is all I had to say to you guys. For I'll very be welcoming the questions if you have some. Yes, Darsha.
Before we come to a conclusion, I'm sorry about that. Before we come to a conclusion, I remind all of you that there will be a quick session on our official Discord channel. Thank you, Ritu, for presenting such an informative session and the audience for being so cooperative. Questions can be asked right now.
Darsha, since I'm presenting my screen, it would be really helpful if you could just recite those questions if possible. Uh,
The questions on
if
Slido.
there are some questions. Oh,
Oh,
no.
okay, okay.
Are there any questions from the audience?
Not yet as of now.
Okay. It's okay. Was I that good, or the audience is too smart? I don't really know. My audience, were you guys so smart, or was I that good? So I would obviously prefer the latter, but it's always good to ask questions if you have some. Hmm, looks like we don't, I guess. Feel free to drop your questions. It's perfectly fine. I'm. I don't know why. Uh, Being in college, I don't kind of trust this that nobody has a question. I had lots of questions. I had a bunch of questions. If it is, you guys can for sure drop it.
Everyone is welcome to ask their questions if shy right now on the Discord channel. Ritu will be available there. Um,
That's oh yeah,
I
that's
think
fine. That's also great. We could answer that on Discord. That's perfectly fine. So, oh, thank you, Preeti.
if no questions as of now, we can conclude this episode. Thank you, Ritu, for presenting us with such an informative session and the audience for being so cooperative. There will be a Discord session right now, so all of you are welcome with your questions. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for actually being giving me a stage to share my experience properly. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. See you at Discord.